So I ran to Stevens today. It was pretty much a ghost town. If you haven't made it to Stevens yet, for your packet, if you haven't got it, please grab it. Your packet's going to be a mixture of our lesson 5 math book and our lesson 6 math book, because we're halfway done with this. And then I also went ahead and grabbed a whiteboard and some of my little expo markers too. So lesson 9 is right here. So using a partial quotients method, you have this copy in your packet. What we're going to be looking at first is we're going to be looking at using the base 10 diagrams to calculate quotient. So that'd be 9.1. So the problem that we're going to be looking at is 372 divided by 3. Let's see if I can make that a little prettier. 372 divided by 3. Okay, so what this is saying is we have now our base 10 method. So with our base 10 method, that's where we're going to have those squares, those rectangles that have different quantities to it. So we have our hundreds, and sorry that these aren't all the same size. We have our 7/10s. Again, sorry, not the greatest artist. Plus, I'm moving fast because, again, I did tell you guys I'm going to try and keep these under the 5-minute mark. But I know I haven't been doing good with that, especially with my first 2 videos. And then we have our 2 ones. And I'm sorry that I'm putting this underneath, but that's the way I have to do it. So with the base 10 method, we're going to say, okay, so we have 3 groups that we want to split this 372 into. So what we can do, and they show you a different method in the book, since I don't want to run out of space and I want to use the other half of this whiteboard for our second and third method, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, okay, so we have our 3 groups. I'm just going to label this as 1, 2, 3. So we know that there'll be at least 100 in each of the 3 groups. Now with our 7/10s, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we have now 100 in each group and then at least 2 10s in each group, knowing that we'll have 1 and a 2. What we'll need to do now is we need to figure out how many 1s are left over. So as you can see here, we have 1 10 left. So what we're going to do is we're going to break that 10 into 1. So we have now 12 1s. Okay, so as you guys know, how many groups of 3 go into 12? That would be 4. So I'm just gonna go 1, 2, and then 4. So our answer would be 124. So this is a different way to do the base 10 method. If you look in your book, they're doing something similar. However, they're drawing it out into 3 separate groups, unlike me, where I'm just writing 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then with this last group of 1s, I just drew 3 separate lines. So 1 line, 2 line, and 3 line. Okay, so then our next method is going to be found on page 60 in your book, or in your packet or your book, whichever you have. With this one, we're going to be doing 657 divided by 3. So with this is called the partial quotient method. I'll write that right here. I gotta erase because I gotta come down a little bit. So 3, go 3, 6, 5, 7. So this is a partial quotient method. And don't worry, I will zoom out to show you the whole whiteboard here in a bit, but I am just zooming in right now to show you. So with the partial quotient method, we're going to be doing something similar to what we did in lesson 9 and lesson 8 and lesson 7, of where we're just going to look at this by our place value. So we're going to say how many 3s go into 600. So how many 3s go in 600? And so what we know is that 3 times 2 does equal 6. However, we're going to do this as 3 times 200 equals 600. So we're going to do 657 minus 600. So 7 We don't have to take anything away from 7, nothing away from the 5, and then leaving us with only 6 take away 6, which is 0. Now we're going to move on to our how many 3s go into 50. So we only have 1 3 go into 50, leaving us with that 10 up there. So as you can see, rather than going to 1, we're going 200 and then 10. So we have now 57 minus 30. Again, we don't have to take anything away from the ones column. And then we're taking a 30 away from the 50, so that leaves us with a 20. So 27 is left over. So in this last column, we're going to say how many 3s go into 27. So that'd be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. If you're counting along with me using your fingers, we know that 3 goes into 27 9 times. So 27, take away 27, that equals 0. That shows us that we now have our answer. So we're going to do 200 plus 10, which is 210, and then plus 9, which is 219, which gets us to our answer of 219. So 657 divided by 3 is 219. And then the last way that we can do this would be the full quotient method. So rather than breaking this up into place value, all you would do is that. So you do 657 divided by 3, and I apologize that writing wasn't as good. I was just looking at my camera. So how many times does 3 go into 6? That'd be twice. 0. Bring down our 5. How many times does 3 go into 5? 1. And then how many times does 3 go into 27? So that'd be 9, which is bringing us also down to our 0. If you have any questions, shoot me a message through Teams, on this YouTube. Sorry that I went over my limit again, but I apologize. Alright, tune in for the next video.